to share more ways of love. The best of me is on track, but I don't think you know how rising with help from above. This is how it goes, and I love it. Hey, what's up, family and friends? This one is by special request. Astral doorways, are they real? What do they stand for? What is it all about? Well, I'm going to share my views and my revelations about astral doorways. Interestingly enough, in some of my older intros, you will see this image right here. My intros are always telling a story. I'm expressing myself as an artist, but there's a story there. And in this image, in this illustration here, is basically me standing before what I would call a first tier astral doorway. Yes, this is what they look like. Pitch black in the surrounding areas, but a pure bright white doorway right before you. And what I found is that this is the realm that is most close to Earth, meaning from the transition from the physical realm of consciousness into the astral realm, there are 3 tiers that are very, very, very similar to the physical realm, meaning there will be doorways, there will even be steps, even though we don't need a doorway or step, but the human mind consciousness from such a perspective is used to traveling and moving through different areas of consciousness through doorways. So it appears that the lower astral realm is very structured similarly to the lower dense physical realm. And I'm sure that's really more of an acclamation for the lower human mind consciousness until we start moving up into the higher realms of consciousness within the astral realm. Now, I had talked about astral doorways years ago, but I didn't go into details. I even gave an illustration of how a being came through a doorway as I was lying back in bed, and I was seeing it from my mind's eye. The mind's eye can see far, 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 far more than these physical lenses. This is why we always say, do not trust really anything. I say don't trust or believe in anything that you see, because the lens here filters so much. Now, what I found is that as we move higher into the astral realm, the expectations of a linear physical type interaction, travel, and experience seems to wane away. Some people may call this more along the lines of the mental plane. But what I found is that the need for doorways tend to automatically fall away from the human, fall away from our expectation. In other words, instead of walking up steps, for instance, when we go into these higher realms, we just automatically know to levitate or to float there or to just simply think and we're there. Whereas on the lower astral realm, where these doorways, as I've previously pointed out, are in plenty, it's more like moving along in a physical, linear-like fashion. Now, I've got to give you guys a warning about especially these doorways that are closest to the lower astral realm. These are where these multi-dimensional, interdimensional beings who are very, very clever, who are far more psychic and telepathic, they can create these doorways with their own collective consciousness and lure us into those realities to frighten us and to scare us. Many times when we experience nightmares, or something that is reoccurring, that's very traumatic, that is in the subconscious mind, it is these beings who create these doorways for us to go through so that they can manipulate our consciousness. Now, mind you, they can really affect those of us who are already on a lower level consciousness to some degree to begin with. Meaning if we're vibrating consciously at a much higher frequency, we would not have to worry about beings tricking us or luring us into these doorways in which they can truly screw with our minds. And not only that, they can follow us back and basically hang around the phantom doorways that are an extension to the earth physical doorways. Now, these doorways are also ways for ancestors, guardians, people who have passed over to come through to meet us halfway, to share information or to guide us, or whatever the case may be. I need you guys to remember this. Whatever doorway appears before you is the doorway in which you are vibrating and you have an equal vibratory signature or match to, even when there are beings there who are deceiving us. We got to get away from externalizing all the issues that befall us. Sometimes those issues are there because we are attracting them or co-creating them in some kind of way. So be mindful of what it is that we are thinking, what we are doing to others, and our thought process when it's all said and done. We go through the doorways. The reality with which we access may be very physical, linear, like what we see here on physical Earth, but it could also be a smash up of multiple layers and realities playing all at the same time. It can also be, which I had an experience where I was in like a diner type scenario, and when I would walk, even though I didn't need to walk, but I would walk because, again, that is a function that the lower mind is used to using to travel. So when I walked from that diner scene, there would be these doorways, and when I would walk through these doorways and enter through them, it would be let's say another reality where there's an auditorium and there are a bunch of people there who are on stage performing. I'm just giving you an example. So imagine your house. When we walk down the corridor, we may enter in a bedroom or kitchen or the bathroom. The astral realm, once we pass through these lower main tier doorways, the astral realm is much like that, in which we walk through and gain access to different scenes, different schools of thought, different collective consciousness co-creating and manifesting something to be later manifested on the physical realm. So the astral doorways are very real. They have multi-dimensional purposes behind them, but be fair warned, some of these doorways are the co-creation of tricksters to feed off of and to manipulate our consciousness. Please stay tuned for the next 2 videos by viewer request. And never forget, guys, you are loved beyond measure, and happy travels.